Hello and welcome back to the Bottom Bins podcast. Today we are continuing our regular coverage of the Premier League. So, where best to start, lads, than Manchester United against Arsenal. Arsenal take another step towards the title with a dominant display against Manchester United. Completely overrun United. They took 25 shots within the game, had an XG of 3.2. That's the most they've had this season. Some standout performers: Granit Xhaka, Odegaard, especially Saka, Alexander Zinchenko at left back,
and of course Nketiah.
And Nketiah as well, of course. Arsenal with 63 touches in the Manchester United box. Compare this to Manchester United, who only had 12 in the Arsenal box. So, bit of chalk and cheese there, really. So I think we'll start with the Arsenal perspective then, Oren. Obviously, this is just another 3 points, a big statement against a team that were in form like Manchester United. So where does this leave Arsenal now in terms of their title aspirations?
Have to be favourites. They definitely have to be favourites. They're 5 points clear with the game in hand. Look, still two big tests to come in the form of Manchester City in the next few weeks. City obviously picked up their form there yesterday with a large margin victory that we'll talk about later on. A few players for City coming back into form, which isn't going to be great for Arsenal. But look, coming into the game, I fully expected Manchester United to come out with a victory. I didn't think Arsenal would have been much up to it. I didn't think they would put as much of a fight up as they clearly showed, especially with the likes of Gabriel Jesus and not injured. But yeah, no, Eddie Nketiah has proven me wrong. I didn't think he would have been fit to lace Gabriel Jesus' boots whenever he got injured. But he's scoring a lot of goals. Scored 2 yesterday, including that vital one in the 90th minute. And that was the difference between Arsenal and Manchester United yesterday. Arsenal seemed fresher, they seemed fitter, they seemed more up for it. And of course having their home crowd behind them, which was exceptional, by the way. The crowd yesterday and the support for Arsenal was ridiculous. They're definitely favourites for the title now.
Yeah. Owen, on Nketiah, obviously good centre forward performance from them last night. He's really sort of taken up the burden since Gabriel Jesus has been injured. Out of his 37 goals in senior professional football, 20 of them have come from inside the box. That's working out at a ratio of 54% of his goals come from inside the box. He's a very good poacher, isn't he?
Yeah, well, even you seen it last night, especially the winner. Like the first goal was a great work, great movement in the box to lose his man, and pretty easy finish in the end for him. But the third goal, just to have the awareness, to have the reaction time, just to get a touch on the ball, to divert it into the net, because it might have been going in from Odegaard anyway, it might have been going wide, I'm not too sure, but Nketiah made sure it was going in the net. I thought Arsenal would struggle a wee bit when Jesus got injured, just because they didn't seem to have that out-and-out striker. I thought they needed to go and get one in January, but Nketiah has proven that he's more than capable of stepping up for Arsenal. This is a tough period in Arsenal season. They're playing like Newcastle, Brighton, United, Tottenham, now of City again coming up. So these game 5 game run would have been the make or break of a title challenge, and so far they've come for pretty much unscathed. Yes, they drew with Newcastle, but other than that, they've won. They beat Brighton, Newcastle, and United, which are 3 quality teams in the Premier League. Arsenal fully deserved to win yesterday. They're the better team. United, similar to what they did against Palace during the week, when they scored, especially the second, they stopped.
Yeah.
Completely stopped and just invited Arsenal on and on and on again. Like, for the last 15 minutes, it was an onslaught from Arsenal. United couldn't get the ball away at all. I thought United's fullbacks were very poor. I thought, especially Luke Shaw, just gave Saka the freedom of the Emirates. He kept backing off, and he scored a great goal, Saka, from Shaw backing off, the line whipped in, and about 10 minutes later he done the exact same thing when he had Eriksen got a slight touch to divert on the post. It would have been 3-2 a lot area. I think United missed Casemiro, and that was big because it allowed Xhaka and Partey to run the midfield, and United just didn't show as much fight as you'd think. Like players like Lecce Martinez and stuff, you think these players are the players who show the passion and try and drive United on, just didn't seem themselves yesterday, really. I don't know if it was... It nearly diverted to performance kind of before.
I think Martinez didn't...
I thought he was good.
Show the passion for United yesterday.
I thought he was one of the better players for United yesterday.
I think he was poor defensively. He gave the ball away a lot.
Lisandro Martinez?
Yeah.
No, I think... I don't think... I thought he played well, to be honest. I thought he was one of United's better performer, scored a goal.
Like, I know he got the goal and
Defensively, like
finish,
even there's
but
a few times where Arsenal were in and he got the last ditch tackle. I thought he actually played alright, to be honest.
I think he gave the ball away a lot. But in general, it seemed like a performance for United from earlier in Ten Hag's reign. Not really a performance that they've been doing the last couple of weeks. Like, they did just sit in and invite Arsenal over and over again to come at them, and it was never going to be a successful strategy at the Emirates with the crowd behind them and the form Arsenal's been in the minute.
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. Connor, Bukayo Saka scored now in 3 consecutive games against Manchester United since the 2021-2022 season. These are the lists then of players with the most goal involvements in the Premier League. So Salah with 47, Kane with 42, De Bruyne 37, Son with 36, Tony with 33 and Saka with 32. He does really rank among the top level of Premier League players, and his form is just showing that at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I thought, obviously, he destroyed Luke Shaw yesterday, and I thought they had to bring Fred on to double him up. I think he's that good at the minute, you have to double him. You need somebody in there to help, because Luke Shaw was backing off him because he knew he just had that pace on him. The goal was unbelievable. As you were saying, he's contributed so much to Arsenal this season. He had more touches in the United box than the United had against Arsenal in the whole game, which is just crazy. It was an unbelievable finish as well, and as Owen said, he could have even had another one. And I thought Arsenal just dominated the game, especially in midfield. United couldn't get a hold of the ball; they kept giving the ball away. I thought it was more like Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, De Gea give away a lot of ball, and it was just an onslaught. Martinelli on the other side played okay as well, and then Nketiah was superb as well. I didn't think he would be this good. He actually is more like a clinical finisher than Jesus was. Jesus is probably better all-round game, but Nketiah is clinical. Like, if he gets a chance, he'll get a goal, and he always seems to be in the right area. His header was a great goal, and then even the missed cute shot, he was in the right area, gets the goal. But more of a poacher, as you I think seen there, or maybe you said, just a lot of his goals seem to be in the 6-yard box. So that's what his job is. And Arsenal need that. They need a striker who's going to get them goals, and Saka is definitely one of the star performers this year in the Premier League.
Yeah, I completely agreed. I think Arsenal have taken a big step now towards the title. They were, look, I agree with a lot of what you said there, Owen. I do think they were exceptionally strong last night. They did sort of play Man United about quite a bit. But look, for me, on the Man United side of things, the United just missed Casemiro so much last night. It just goes to show when he's not in the team just how little we control the game in the midfield area. Eriksen, shite last night. Shite, but he was shite because Casemiro wasn't playing. He didn't have protection behind him. He couldn't really get on the ball and try and dictate as much. I didn't think Bruno was great either, to be honest. I thought out of the 3 midfielders yesterday, Bruno was probably the best, but I mean, they were all shite, to be honest. So
there's some difference in McTominay and Casemiro.
Geez.
Even on the ball, Casemiro can get on the ball, play a pass. McTominay just can't do that.
No.
McTominay probably played okay, defensively he was okay, but he just can't get on the ball and give them forward passes like Casemiro can.
Yeah. Look, Oren, on the Manchester United side of things, then Rashford has scored yet another goal. Interesting stat about Rashford. So he has scored as many goals in his last competitive games for Man United. So that's he has 10 goals from 31 shots, as he has done in his previous 47 appearances, where he had 10 goals from 82 shots. So it just goes to show you that upturn in form with Rashford. The goal he scored, phenomenal, really took it in a stride and just let one go. Funny, when we were watching the game last night, I did think possibly a better goalkeeper does better in that scenario. I thought, I
agreed with you when I watched it.
Look, I'll say one thing about Ramsdale. His distribution is absolutely excellent, but I don't think he's as good a shot stopper as people make him out to be completely honest. I understand why he's England's 3rd choice goalkeeper. I don't think his shot stopping's as good, but look, I'm taking nothing away from Rashford. It was a great finish. So look, what's your take on things from a Man United side of things? Are you disheartened? Are you annoyed? Has this put a dampener on recent performances?
No, it hasn't put a dampener. This is the league leaders. These are this is the team that we've all been saying for the past how many weeks we've been doing this podcast are likely going to win the Premier League, or at least going to be challenging for the Premier League. This is Erik ten Hag 6 months into his reign. This is Arsenal 3 months into their project with Arteta. This is to be expected. I did think United were going to come away with a win. So, but I'm not going to be disheartened. This is our first loss in 11 games.
Mm-hmm.
That's a ridiculous run for any team. And we'll bounce back. We'll bounce back against Crystal Palace. We should be beating Leeds, and then we've got the Carabao Cup semi-finals. Yeah, no, I don't think United should be disheartened, and I've seen all the tweets from the players. It's not what we were saying last year. Oh, sorry for the performance and all this shit. It's let's lift our heads. We have to go again. We can't be sad. Which is what you need. This is the mentality you need. The same mentality that Ten Hag is instilling into his players. Rashford, look, there's not much more we can say about Rashford. He is one of the best wingers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Saka are two top world class wingers at this present moment in time. Phenomenal goal. Could have scored another one. He had both Ben White and Tomiyasu on strings. But yeah, as Owen said, United didn't play great, and they just invited pressure from Arsenal the entire game, especially after it went to 2 each. They seemed to sit back and want their point, much like they did against Crystal Palace. They thought that they had the job done after they had scored a goal.
Yeah.
But I do understand it as well from a perspective. Ten Hag came out afterwards and said that we just don't have the squad depth and the attacking depth to compete just yet, which is fair enough. I understand that too. No disrespect to Wout Weghorst, I thought he played pretty well. His hold-up play was good and he was linking players in, but the ball never went into Wout Weghorst in the box at all. And when you've got that aerial presence, that's what you need to be doing. I thought Luke Shaw was horrible. I thought it was his worst game all season.
Yeah.
I thought Wan-Bissaka played alright. Could have done better for the goals maybe, but I thought he played okay. I do think Lisandro Martinez played brilliant. I saw many highlights and all as well, like highlight reels of him there this morning, and I thought he was phenomenal. And obviously a good goal he scored as well. Look, United need to just take the positives from the game and move on. Arsenal were the better team on the day, and they've been the better team over the course of this league season, so there's not much more United could have done last night, but they just got to take the positives and move on.
Yeah, fair enough. Connor, look, there were periods in the game where United sort of got on the ball and tried to dictate the tempo a little bit. Obviously, it's hard to go to the Emirates. The Emirates is a tough hunting ground for United. It always has been. We don't tend to win at the Emirates all that often. Again, same question to you as to Oren. Are you disheartened at all, or
no? I'm not disheartened, to be honest. I am actually kind of positive. I think, yes, we didn't play well, but it's a totally different team. Like last year, this side, I think, when Arsenal scored that equaliser to make it 1-1 or 2-1, they would just completely collapsed and got beat 4-5-1. This team came back, they fought back. I do think the squad is huge because the squad depth, because like Weghorst, I actually thought played well.
Yeah.
He was disruptive, he was annoying the centre backs, but you could tell the last 25-30 minutes he was out on his feet.
Puffed.
He was wrecked. He had done the hard work.
Yeah.
And we had no one to bring it on for him.
Mm-hmm.
He had to play the full 90. If we had another striker on there, maybe a bit of pace on the counter, we would probably create more chances. I do think Arsenal are the best side in the league, and they proved it again. And for United, you know, we went unbeaten in 11 games, or we were unbeaten in 11 games, playing well. The Palace game was more disheartening because we probably should have won that game.
Yeah.
But I think United are going places. If we can improve the squad, maybe, you know, in certain positions, I think people are talking about maybe, because we're playing that out from the back, De Gea doesn't really suit it. I know De Gea did play okay, he made a few saves, but his passing isn't up to the standard maybe Ten Hag's expecting. So I could see us maybe going for a goalkeeper. And then at Wan-Bissaka, I thought played well on Martinelli, but again, it's just distribution at times. He gives away the ball too much. And then he got caught out at the back post. Martinez played well. Shaw, obviously, playing against Saka, just got destroyed. And I think if Casemiro was playing there, I think we'd at least have got a draw. I think he was vital. But I think there is positives to take. I think Garnacho should have been on earlier. I thought we should have probably went for it a bit more. I think we'd have sat back, as Owen and Owen were saying, we'd have sat back, take the point at Arsenal. They're a great side.
Yeah.
We probably should have been like, maybe we could cause them a bit of problem on the counter. We didn't do that. But I'm definitely a lot of positives to take out of the game, because we didn't actually play that well, but we at least could have got a point there. And I think Arsenal are the best side in the league. So we're doing well. And under Ten Hag, I can only see us improving.
Yeah, fair enough. Owen, obviously, you know, Arsenal did dominate for large parts of the game. But, you know, as Connor said there, you know, United did fight back twice. They scored first, and then Arsenal scored. But they fought back to get to 2-2. And, you know, the last 5 minutes, I was saying in the house, look, I'd bite somebody's hand off for a draw here. Wasn't to be. Obviously, Arsenal then worked a well-worked third goal, and credit to them, they did deserve to probably, on the balance of play, Arsenal probably did deserve to win the game, to be honest. Look, what was your assessment of Man United last night then?
Look, when United did play off the ball, they had actually some nice periods of play. I actually thought, I know you disagreed with me time, but I thought United were the better team when United scored. Like, Arsenal had a lot of the ball, but they did nothing with it.
Yeah.
And United looked more direct, and they looked to be causing Arsenal trouble, bother when they were pressing. But when they scored, they stopped doing that. Then Arsenal scored, obviously equalised, and Arsenal took the lead. Then they went back to playing football, scored, got the equaliser again, and then stopped. Like, I think the last 15 minutes was brutal from United. It was like backs and forwards. It was like the coaches said, right, lads, defenders, don't cross the halfway line. We want to practice playing against a blanket defence.
Yeah.
And it just was like that. It was just an onslaught, as you said,
Yeah.
for the last 15 minutes. Look, after the start of the season, you had, as United fans, I said this to you last night, Richie, if somebody had told you come January you used to be sitting third, you used to just come off, you used to have lost the league leaders, but you'd been on a 10-game unbeaten run or whatever it was, you would have bit their hand off for it. So I don't think United should be disheartened by the result. Look, at Arsenal has shown this year they're the best team in England. So losing by a goal to them, a 90th minute goal, isn't anything to be ashamed of. So United will be alright. United do need to strengthen in certain positions. They need depth.
Big time.
Like, as you said, Casemiro. If Casemiro's gone, United revert completely. Like, they have nobody. Like, McTominay and Fred aren't going to do a job Casemiro does for you.
No.
They need more attacking depth. You look at their bench, they don't have a striker to come on, change the game.
Yeah.
So, and I do agree with Connor, I do think De Gea doesn't suit the modern goalkeeper anymore. His distribution just, like, there's a couple of passes he hit last night, just he was trying to hit Big Dave and Rose Ed, the Arsenal fan or something.
He did.
So I think it's a project. Was always going to be a project for United. A new manager coming in.
Yeah.
They've had a long run now of bad seasons, so there's nothing to be disheartened about United. It will take time. As long just need to stick with Ten Hag the same way the Arsenal board stuck with Arteta.
Yeah.
And even maybe not next year, but the year after that, maybe you're looking at a really strong Manchester United side.
Yeah.
Back challenging for titles, which they probably should be. Like, in the scheme, they're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like, you think of Premier League and you think Arsenal United fighting for the title. Like.
Yeah. No, look, I think maybe United just run out of steam last night. I know you said they're Owen, obviously, like they did just stop playing after the second goal. I think that was because they were just out on their feet. They were puffed, they were fucked, they were tired. Like they exerted a lot of energy against Man City to try and win that game, and it paid off. They exerted a lot of energy against Crystal Palace trying to hang on to the 3 points, and then ended up drawing the game. And then, like, the first 60 minutes, they completely exerted the energy against Arsenal. Like, United pressed so well in that first 60 minutes against Arsenal, but the last half hour was, you could just see they were all out in their feet, and that's the problem. Like you said, Owen, United don't have enough quality within the squad to come in and replace the boys that are in the starting 11. So it is going to take time. United need another summer transfer window, I think, to maybe get, maybe not necessarily starting players in, but players of a quality that can come in and do a job whenever, boys are missing.
If somebody is missing, you're not seeing a massive dip in quality, which you are going
at the minute, you are.
Casemiro to McTominay.
Okay, exactly.
That's just the truth of the
thing.
It
is. And, like, I mean, like, McTominay was being linked with Newcastle there. Fuck me. They can have him if they want. They should.
Definitely.
They can have him if they
40
want.
million, 100%.
Yeah. Take it. That's 40 million for us to buy a backup. All right, lads, I'll move it on then from Arsenal and United. So congrats to Arsenal. Massive win. Going to move to Man City and Wolves. 3-0 to Man City. They made it look easy. Sort of looked back to their best for large spurts of the game. But I'll talk about one player in particular. Obviously, you can't talk about Man City without talking about Erling Haaland, and that's another hat-trick, the fourth hat-trick of his Man City career already. He's only been there 6 months. So he is the quickest player to hit 25 goals in the Premier League. He's done this in 19 appearances, smashing the previous record by 7 games, and that was Kevin Phillips, who hit 25 Premier League goals in 26 appearances. So just goes to show you, Haaland is absolutely tearing it up at the minute. He scored 25 goals from his first 74 shots in his Premier League career. Manchester City's record goal scorer, Sergio Aguero, scored his opening 25 league goals in his first 150 shots. So, Haaland, is he the most clinical forward in world football, Lauren?
Yeah, he's the best forward in world football. And he had to go and score a hat-trick the week after I triple captained. But
yeah, that's true.
But, no, look, he's deadly. He's a deadly finisher. And you'll notice about any of Haaland's goals this season. So look, he's got 25 goals in the league this season, but you'll notice about any of them, none of them's a screamer.
No.
None of them's a screamer. They're all tap-ins or penalties or headers or something. But that's what a clinical forward does. That's what the elite forwards do. They're in the right position at all times. And people will, all these stat merchants on Twitter and stuff will be saying, oh, he's shite when he scores tap-ins. McGranie could have scored that there and all this here. Right, well, what's he meant to do? Miss it on purpose? Do you know what I mean? No, he's an elite forward. He's the best in the world. And when you put the best forward in world football into an already world-class team, you're going to get world-class results. And City have bounced back after dropping off the boil. Like even against Spurs there the other day, it could have been very, very cagey if like they went in 2-0 down at half time. Like it could have been very, very cagey if that result hadn't went their way in the second half. But the bounce back, a win against Spurs, a big win against Wolves, who I were expecting to put up a bigger fight, to be honest.
Yeah.
Under Julian Lopetegui, they've looked quite defensively sound. But look, I wasn't expecting them to beat Man City, but I wasn't expecting them to lose 3-0. But yeah, you can't do anything about the goals. Well, you can about the third one, and the penalty call wasn't everybody's taste, like, but.
Yeah.
Haaland just done. He done what was put in front of him, and he scored his goals. 3-0, Man City, easy win, back on track, and look, 2 big games whenever they play Arsenal in the next few weeks.
Well, that's it. Owen, obviously, we criticised them over these past couple of weeks. We've said they looked like, City, they weren't playing to Haaland's strengths. They weren't necessarily even playing great football. It was just passing for passing's sake, as we said. But look, there is a partnership forming within Man City. De Bruyne to Haaland has contributed the most goals between a duo this season. That's De Bruyne passing to Haaland has contributed to 5 goals. The next from them then is Jack Harrison to Rodrigo, which has produced 4 goals. And then the one after that then is Bruno Fernandes to Marcus Rashford to produce 3 goals. So De Bruyne and Haaland up there amongst those top partnerships. They're really starting to click with one another. Was this just a bedding in process? Was this always just going to take a little bit of time to get right?
Yeah, it was, because Haaland is not the striker City's had over the last couple of years. Like the likes of Jesus and some, like, you didn't know who Pep was going to play striker half time. Like, you threw Phil Foden in there. Sometimes Grealish has played in that, Mahrez has played in that central position. So now they actually have a proper striker. And at the start of the season, they were playing well, and they went off the boil again and didn't play to strength. And then there's this big argument on Twitter. It's like, oh, Man City play worse when they have Erling Haaland in the team. Right? If you don't want him, I'll take him then. Like, they actually tried this new tactic against Wolves called give the ball to the best striker in the world and he will score goals. Yeah. Like, Haaland's movement is fantastic. Yeah. Like, I love the way Oren brought it back to the, oh, Mike Granny would have scored that. No harm to you. 85-year-old Linda was not going to lose the man the way Erling Haaland does. And that's the game. Linda's got skills. Linda's got pace anyway. Like, that's a bit of Haaland's game that just goes so unnoticed, is his movement. Like, he lost James Collins just from like a wee stop and go, and Collins isn't the worst centre back in the world. Nathan Collins is quite a good centre back.
He's pretty decent.
Like, he cleared one off the line from Grealish in that game. So to lose him the way he did was really good centre forward play, and he's a finisher. He gets half a sniff and he scores. And one player I want to talk about from City who's been fantastic over the last couple of weeks when City haven't been at their best is Riyad Mahrez. He's nearly playing the best football he's played for City at the minute. He's probably now cemented himself in that start 11, which is very hard to do, especially under Pep. He just likes to tinker with the team a lot. So I think Mahrez has been key to City kind of getting back on form here. He was great during the week. He got 2 assists. He got 1 assist yesterday against Wolves.
Yep.
So I think Mahrez has been fantastic for City so far this season.
I would agree. I would completely agree with you. Kevin De Bruyne, he's now just three assists away from a Premier League century of assists. He and Jack Grealish last night, they really run the show for City. The 2 of them were absolutely excellent, I thought. What did you notice that was a little bit different about City yesterday than has been in recent weeks?
Well, obviously Haaland is the difference. When he's starting to play well, he's going to score goals and they're going to win games. But yeah, as you said, De Bruyne, it's just about, as we said, they're overplaying. If they play the ball through quicker, Mahrez and Grealish on the wings are playing really well. Even against Spurs, like Mahrez was superb. And Grealish, as you said, was really key contribution yesterday. And De Bruyne, they've won, like I couldn't believe it. Like he has 10 assists in the last 5 seasons in a row, and like you wouldn't really have thought he kind of goes under the radar because he gets so many assists.
Yep.
It's kind of like he's just going to do that, so nobody talks about it. And then he almost got set up another one, Demarais. But with City, it's just about intensity. I thought Wolves were poor. Even their manager came out and said they kind of set up defensively, and then once they conceded, they were like, right, we'll go for it. Made a few changes, and it made no difference. And the game was over. They took Holland off after 60 minutes. City, they didn't even need to really do anything the last 30. They didn't really create much, but sure, the game was over 3-0. And Holland's just proven that he's so clinical. Like 1 in every 3 shots he scores.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Even if it is tap-ins, like that is ridiculous, because like you look at like players like Darwin Núñez and all, he's not scoring the tap-ins, he's missing them. So you still have to be there, you still have to score them. His movement's class. I do think Mahrez has been key the last few games, especially against Tottenham, because I watched that Tottenham game and I thought they were very poor first half. But once they played a bit quicker, with more intensity, get the ball into the Grealish's, Mahrez's feet, get at the fullbacks, get the ball into the box to Holland, they're a far better side. Because against United, as we said, they were too lackadaisical, they were too, we'll just dominate possession, and that didn't really create much. But now this is City side that could go on and just win a lot of games and put Arsenal under severe pressure.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. Oren, from the Wolves perspective then, obviously, like you said, you expected Wolves to put up a little bit more of a fight because they have been very defensively sound under Lopetegui so far. But look, it's always going to be a struggle, obviously, when you go to the Etihad and you have to play Man City, no matter what kind of form they're in. But have you been impressed with Wolves under Lopetegui then, thus far?
Yeah, I have. And look, they've made a couple of key signings that we've talked about in the last few episodes of the bottom mids as well. And they're only going to improve Wolves. The likes of Pablo Sarabia, and look, Mario Lemina didn't play his greatest football yesterday when he made his debut against City, but look, as you said, how is any midfielder in the world meant to dominate against Manchester City's midfield? But yeah, look, Wolves can take promise as well. They had a couple of mishaps in the game, but when no one talked about Nathan Collins, like I think Nathan Collins is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think the centre-back partnership of Collins and Kilman is probably one of the most stable centre-back partnerships in the league. Mightn't show it by the amount of goals conceded and stuff, but like I would take them both at United if I could, do you know what I mean? So look, they've got plenty of young players, they've got plenty of players coming through, plenty of experienced heads there. Look, Wolves will be absolutely fine this season. A 3-0, a loss against Manchester City was never ever going to define Wolves' season anyway.
No.
That's a loss that's expected.
Yeah.
So all they can do is keep their heads up and move on.
Yeah. Owen, they do look, the only thing with Wolves, and I think the only criticism I've seen from Wolves fans on Twitter is just their lack of a goal scorer, really. They've been relying on Podence these last few weeks to sort of get them through games, whereas, Cunha's not really come in and hit the ground running, and obviously, big Kalajic that's injured, he would have been a big help to them as well. Jimenez doesn't really score goals anymore, so
No.
does the lack of a goal scorer concern you with Wolves, or do you think, look, the likes of Cunha just needs a wee bit of time?
Yeah, I think the likes of Cunha just need time. Like, unfortunately, Jimenez had that real bad head injury against Arsenal, and that's kind of signified the end of his career, because before that he was a great goal scorer for Wolves. Look, as Oren said, the Etihad wasn't going to define Wolves' season. You go there, you get a point, happy days. That's a great bonus territory. Every team is at the bottom of the table goes to the Etihad expecting to lose, realistically. So that's not going to dishearten them too much. Since Lopetegui has come in, they've been playing decent football. They've been picking up results. Like they put it up against United. They've got a couple of big wins. They've got a good win against away to Everton. So I still think Wolves will be fine. I think they are defensively sound. I know they shipped 3 goals yesterday, but I think they will stop shipping goals. And look, you just need a player like Cunha to get us first, and then a second, and then the floodgates will start to open. You just need players to hit their form. Some players aren't on form at the minute, but that will come for Wolves. I do think Wolves will be okay. They've got more than enough quality in that team to keep them well away from the relegation zone. So I know they're sitting barely above it at the minute, but I think Wolves will be fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Connor, look, there's still, as Owen mentioned, there are still some people to come back for Wolves. Pedro Neto still to come back in, and he is undoubtedly, one of the best youngsters in the Premier League. What do you think about Wolves then under Lopetegui? Obviously, they are just above the relegation zone at the minute, but do you think it's going to be a scrap for them, or should they have enough to be safe and sound?
See, when you just can't get the goals like a striker, As you said, they're missing like a Jimenez who was flying before the head injury. It is going to be tough. They're probably going to be in and around there, but I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because they do have a lot of talent in there. Just need to create more. Defensively, they are really sound. I'd say Collins is a very underrated centre back. Very, very good centre back this season. With Kilman as well, very good centre back as well. So I think, and the Sa as well, who's a good keeper. He made a mistake yesterday, but these things happen. But I'd say they'll be okay, and I think they'll stay up.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, lads, moving on then to Liverpool and Chelsea. The battle of mid-table. Not the best game of football, to be completely honest. Sort of regret tuning into that one, to be honest. It was very, very boring. Not a whole pile going on within that game. Both sides with poor XG. Liverpool with only 1.4, Chelsea with 1.6, Liverpool with 15 shots, Chelsea with 11. The worst thing about the game was that of those 15 shots for Liverpool, 3 were on target, and of those 11 for Chelsea, 2 were on target. Chelsea had more of the ball with 52% possession to Liverpool's 48%, but I'm sure Mikhailo Mudryk will be hoping that he'll have more exciting games in his 8.5 years at Chelsea. Oren, what's your verdict on these two teams?
Both struggling teams. They were both very timid in their outlook to yesterday's game. Just when you talk about Mikhailo Mudryk, he played brilliant when he came on.
Yeah, he was
showed
excellent.
a lot of glimpses of why so much money was paid for him. Look, it's not going to 30 minutes isn't going to justify his price tag. Don't get me wrong, but look, he showed glimpses of what he can do, and he's definitely going to be a threat to Premier League defenders. But then again, he was up against a 37-year-old midfielder who was playing right back in James Milner. I don't know what was going on yesterday, to tell you the truth, or on Saturday. I didn't understand Jurgen Klopp's setup. Not starting Alexander-Arnold. Not starting Nunez, even though he was fit. Look, both teams are in a bad run of form. I'm not complaining by any means. But I don't know, it was just what frustrates me about that is, like, we're all football fans. We've all went and seen our teams play, and we've all paid big money to go and see our teams play, and we've paid that big money because we've travelled from the north of Ireland to go and watch our teams play. And I would say there was multiple fans at that stadium, at Anfield Stadium, that had paid to come from the likes of Ireland and to come from Scotland, to come from wherever, to go and see a match that is usually exciting between two of the biggest clubs in England, two of the biggest clubs in the world, and they've paid all that money to see that absolute tripe. No, not much can be said about that, and I don't really want to talk about it further, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, fair enough. Owen.
Look, let's call a spade a spade. It's two bad teams.
Yeah.
Two really bad teams at the minute. There's no attraction to watch Liverpool and Chelsea a minute other than the fact that their names are Liverpool and Chelsea. Like, they're sitting 9th and 10th on the table or whatever. There's no entertainment value. It was just crap.
Yeah.
Like, thankfully Saturday were playing Granick Morton at the time, so I could watch it. I got to see goals in that game. But like, it was just so boring. Like, even the highlights, like, you call them highlights.
2 minutes.
Like, Chelsea had a goal disallowed. Okay. And even the goal disallowed was just a crap goal anyway.
Yeah.
There's no creativity, there's no spark other than when Mudryk came on. Mudryk was the only reason to watch that game. He was the only person who tried to grab it by the balls and make something happen. Other than that, there's just nothing you can really say about it. Like, it was two bad teams on fully display of being bad teams.
Yeah, there's not a whole pile more you can say about them, really, Connor. Look, this is Jurgen Klopp. That was his 1000th game in charge of a professional football game, and it ends in a draw. So disappointing for him on a personal aspect. But look, it's like we were saying, both these sides are poor ruts. But look, where do both teams go, really? Like, what's the best hope for both of these sides for this season?
Yeah, it was a dreadful game of football. Liverpool maybe top 6, Chelsea top 6. I don't see either side challenging top 4.
No.
I don't see either of them challenging top 6, to be honest.
A very, very poor game. Klopp came out after the game too, and he was really positive. He was like, we played better and stuff, but if that's playing better, then that shows how bad Liverpool have been.
Yeah, you played better by having one more shot on target.
I thought Salah, what's happened to Salah? He's so quiet in the game. Their midfield was, again, just dreadful.
Dreadful,
They can't control a game. They can't get any ball in midfield. They started a youngster over Fabinho. That's how poor he's been. Gakpo was lively enough, but his shooting was dreadful. He's just came into a side that has low confidence, so
Well,
it's tough for him. But I did expect him maybe to hit the ground
to
running.
kick on.
Yeah. Obviously, Mudryk was probably the changing point. He played well. He probably could have scored. The quick feet was unbelievable. He probably should have finished it. He was up against Milner, to be honest. Once Milner went off, Arnold kind of had him okay. He didn't really do much after that.
Yeah.
Arnold was apparently injured. I thought Nunes came on, he done nothing. I seen people were saying on Twitter and stuff, oh, Nunes comes on, Liverpool play better. I didn't see that. I thought he didn't do anything. Just a dreadful game. Azpilicueta got his 500th game for Chelsea. These are the only things that come out of this game. Oh, Klopp got 1,000 games. Nothing actually happened.
Yeah.
They disallowed goal after 3 minutes. Thiago Silva was unbelievable, to be fair to him. He has been...
He's been
I
brilliant
thought
since
when he came to the Prem, I was like, oh, he's too old. He'll not be good enough. But he just was everywhere. And even when Liverpool did get a slight chance, he was there to get a block. Or
Chelsea would
clearance.
probably need to look at another year extension on
Can you
Thiago Silva.
Can you imagine they didn't have him? Where would they be? 15th? They're,
Yeah,
I thought Conor Gallagher played okay. He just runs about, makes a few tackles. He gets booked every game. It's just part of his.
Just runs about, makes a few tackles. Fair play, lad.
And then he tried, lad. Jorginho just looks like he does nothing. He just stands there.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just nothing to say about this game. Just
So
dreadful.
weird. We should be talking about this as probably the best game this week.
Yeah.
But it's just not the way it is anymore.
To be fair, this is the third time in a row they've drawn 0-0.
Look, put it like this, right? So
Crazy.
then the attacking sequence involvements in the game, this is according to Opta. Mohamed Salah played 90 minutes, right? He created one chance and was part of one build-up to a shot. So he was only involved in 2 attacks in the game. Thiago Silva, who's a fucking centre-back, had 1 shot and 1 chance creation. What does that tell you?
Just crazy.
He's equaling Salah's numbers within a game. Cody Gakpo, 6 shots within the game, 1 on target. This is drastically bad. These 2 teams are terrible. I'm sorry if you're a Liverpool or Chelsea fan, you're just gonna have to accept that your teams are shit.
Who do you think though?
he's not wrong.
They're crap.
I was going to ask, who do you think has more likelihood to maybe get to the top 6?
Probably Liverpool, but just because
the players coming back.
better manager, they still have players to come back, and I'd like to hope that some of these guys hit form again. Salah's obviously fucking an elite level forward. He shouldn't be playing as bad as what he is at the minute, so I do expect Salah to start hitting form at some stage, but I would probably say Liverpool. I just think they're a wee bit more secure than Chelsea. Chelsea are still in a sort of real weird transition period where they're buying players that they don't need. They've just signed Madueke. We're going to talk about that on the transfer podcast. But again, you can make an 11. You can make a starting 11 out of players that have played on the wing or play on the wing for Chelsea. It's just buying an excessive amount of players in the one position that you don't need. I just don't get it with Chelsea. But fuck them, I don't care about them anyway. All right, move it on then from that absolute draws. We're going to start going to some decent games in the Premier League. All right, I'll go to West Ham and Everton, guys. 2-0 to West Ham. This was a big game, big relegation scrap. Moyes managed to come out of it with a win. Everton, they've now gone 8 Premier League games without a win. That's 2 draws, 6 losses, and it looks today the news is broke. Frank Lampard's going to get the boot. Oren, look, I think we'll start with Everton rather than West Ham. They've just signed Danjuma. He's going to be coming in now. He's going to undoubtedly add goals, but I sort of just have to ask you the question: Are they going to go down?
I think so. But what sense does it make to sack Lampard now after they've just signed Danjuma and he hasn't had a chance to work with him? Because I'm guessing that's a Lampard signing. It doesn't make sense to me at all. Don't get me wrong, the run of results in this day and age does lead to a manager being sacked, but who's going to come in for Everton and do a better job? Nobody's going to come into that Everton side and, well, they could keep them up, but nobody's going to come in and be successful with that Everton side. Everton is one of the biggest clubs in England. They should be nowhere near the relegation zone. Danjuma will come in and he'll score goals, but it depends what system he's playing under, whether he's playing up front or whether he's playing on the wing. He'll make a difference, but Moyes saved his job yesterday with that win for at least another game or two. I don't understand. Like, we've talked about Everton in the past 3 or 4 weeks and talked about how Lampard's going to get sacked and this, that, and whatever, and that Jesus himself couldn't come in and do a job at Everton, which is true. Like, Everton just don't have the capabilities to be beating the teams that they're coming up against. That was probably the best chance, though. The last 2 games they've had Southampton and West Ham, so that was probably going to be their best chance, especially at this point in the season. It was crucial for them to pick up points and they didn't. So yeah, I can only see Everton going down, to be honest, which is unfortunate because they are one of the biggest teams and they're getting this big new stadium, so they'll have some support in the Championship.
Yeah, it's I completely agree with you there, Oren. Look, Owen, then from the West Ham side of things, 11 shots, 4 on target. They only had 32% of the ball, which I'm actually quite shocked at, to be honest. But West Ham did look a lot better, especially within transition. Jared Bowen showed us, why he is, a good player within the Premier League. I still don't think he's that, I still don't think he's that amazing level of player, but he scored 2 good goals, and I'm not going to discredit him for that. Like, they were 2 good finishes. So, he's going to have to keep this run of form up to keep West Ham up, really, isn't he?
He definitely is. Look, it's a big result for West Ham, a needed result for West Ham. They stopped the rot a wee bit, as Oren said. It did save Moyes' job for a while anyway. And look, Frank's gone now. It was kind of El Sacchio that game. Whoever lost that game is gone. Look, at West Ham bringing in Ings now, hopefully will help their goal scoring issues. Look, we know how good that West Ham team can be. They showed it last year. They show it in spits and spots this year, that they are a good team with good players. You'd like to think now this is a result that they can kind of kick on from, and will drive them on to get pick a few more points up down the road. Look, at West Ham now, it's flat out relegation scrap. Every point is massive for them. To beat a relegation rival like Everton is massive. Kicks them out of the relegation zone. They're going to need more big wins to come. Do they get them? I don't know. It's like, I know Ings is there to try and solve that goal scoring issue, but I just don't see them being that creative. I do think there's worse teams than them, so I do think they'll be safe, but they need to get their finger out. Yeah, and pick up points.
And quick, yeah. No, agreed.
In terms of Everton, look, Everton just don't have good players. It's simple as that. They have a championship caliber team, really. Like,
yeah, well,
I think that's fair to say. Like, they're not scoring goals at all.
No.
Like, Calvert-Lewin, as he scored, I don't even remember looking at his stat and going, Calvert-Lewin scored today. When was the last time Calvert-Lewin scored a goal for Everton?
Yeah.
Like, and other than that, like, Iwobi is probably their main goal scoring threat, or Amari Gray or somebody.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not good enough for the Premier League at the minute, and they're running out of time to make signings. And if they don't make signings, so their time in the Premier League will be very, very short.
Yeah. Connor, then again, just with Everton, so with the attacking sequence involvements, the top 6 creators within the game, all West Ham players. You had Jared Bowen, had 4 shots. Declan Rice, 1 shot, 1 chance created, and 2 build up to shots. Benrahma, again, a shot, a chance created, and 2 build up. But the first Everton player to come up on that list is 7th on the list, and it's Alex Iwobi. And Iwobi had a shot and was part of a build-up to a shot. Yerry Mina then, he was the 8th with a shot and a build-up to a shot. So it's just not looking good really for Everton at the minute, is it? Like, they can't get on the ball, they can't create, and it's...
Yeah, as you said, they don't create enough, and ever since they've lost Richarlison, they just never really recovered. Calvert-Lewin's always injured, Mopé's come in, been poor for the side. Iwobi's actually been probably one of their best players. He's played well. A few of the centre-backs have played okay. The way West Ham played, I heard David Moyes as well, he was like, they played a bit different because they bought all these new signings in the summer, like these more creative players, these expensive players, and they've kind of just went there 32% at home, counter-attack. You can dominate the game. Everton started the game better, didn't really do enough, and they just got caught on the counter, first goal, and then once got the second, the game was over.
Killed it.
And Everton hit the post with a Iwobi, but that was about it. And with Lampard, it is tough for him because obviously Danjuma coming in will be a big help. I can't believe he's going to Everton, I think, on the transfer. Yeah. So I was like, no chance he wouldn't go to Everton.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he's going to Everton. But Lampard only 15 points in 20 games. He's just been there less than a year. He hasn't done well enough. They lost to Southampton and Wolves at home. So and then lost to West Ham. There are teams around them. He had his chances. He didn't deliver.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could say maybe it's not his fault. Maybe he hasn't got the players in, but it's a results business, and he hasn't got the results. And with West Ham now, they've brought Danny Ings in. I think they'll be okay. They'll have the quality. They'll probably change their play style a bit. Maybe they'll play maybe a bit more
Expansively now.
No, I think more like they'll just be like with West Ham. It'll be more counter attacking.
Do you
I
think?
think they're
Yeah.
just going to give up the possession like they did, and they're just going to just be like, right, you can come at us, but we'll counter you. Because when you're hearing David Boyce, he was like, we try to change our style because it came 6th and 7th back-to-back seasons.
Yeah.
And they thought, right, we need to go to the next level here. If we're going to challenge for top 4 or keep in the top 6,
Yeah.
we need to play more expansive football. And it just hasn't worked.
Yeah.
They're just more open at the back, and they've been caught out. Like Rice has been caught out a few times. I know we probably played better again there yesterday or Saturday, but with Ings, he did say as well, it brought new lease of life. Antonio played well.
Yeah.
Maybe that bit of pressure, Ings is coming in, you might not start the next game. You know, Samaka getting injured, obviously a big hurt, but with Antonio playing better, that might be Ings' impact.
Yeah.
Because a bit more pressure. But with West Ham, I think they'll be fine. With Everton, it'll just be like, who do they bring in? Because I don't know who they're going to bring in.
Probably Sean Dyche.
Sean Dyche,
It looks
which,
like.
if he could maybe shore up the back, he could keep them up. You just don't know.
Yeah.
It's very hard to know because there's a lot of teams around the same level near the bottom, so you just don't know yet who's
Yeah.
going to go down. But at the minute, if they keep playing like this, they're going down.
They're going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, the only reason I can see Don Juma's way to Everton is his agent told him to go looking for houses in Liverpool, and he got to Liverpool and realised he was going to Everton and was too embarrassed to say to anybody that he
Like
got
the
it wrong.
Robinho
Yeah.
silly thing. Yeah. From United.
Yeah, look, Everton are in big trouble, and it's like you said, Owen, El Saka go. Looks like Lampard's going to go. Moyes has kept his job for another week at least. All right, lads, just going to run through the last few fixtures then, just quickly. So, Owen, I'll come to you with the first one. Southampton 0, Villa 1. That's 5 wins in 7 league games now for Unai Emery. So, looking good.
Brilliant start from him.
Yeah.
Brilliant start from him. Look, he should be beating Southampton, especially Southampton in the form that they're in. He should be beating them. But yeah, he's getting the best out of his forwards. His midfield's looking solid enough. Not much can be said about Villa at the minute, apart from they're playing well and the only way's up.
I agree.
The only thing, see the goal, did you think it should have been disallowed?
No.
No, I didn't.
I thought it was soft because I thought VAR was just clear and obvious. I thought
Yeah.
that was a bit soft.
Yeah.
There's more decisions that VAR ignores in the game than that, so no, never.
I thought Villa were definitely the better side, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't have been disallowed.
No, I don't think so, to be honest. I think that was harsh against
soft.
Southampton. But look, I suppose these are those we find margins that, you know, can win you points and lose you points. And look, unfortunately, Southampton were on the receiving end of it there. But look, I'm sure they'll get one back.
Just shows
At
the
some stage.
inconsistency, though.
Yeah.
The inconsistency
that's
is
the problem
awful.
with VAR. It isn't consistent.
Like if that was in the opposition box and he done that push, there's no way they would have given a penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is it a? It's just I just
Look,
don't understand it.
and honestly, that is the thing. Like we could do a full podcast on VAR,
And we probably will at some
and we
stage.
probably will at some stage, and we could break down every poor decision by VAR this year. And look, I've said it for years. If VAR was used more like the TMO in rugby, I think it could be successful,
Yeah.
but it's not. So it's not successful.
It's not transparent enough. You
No.
should be able to hear the conversation. That's
Yeah,
happening.
absolutely. Oh, and then Leicester 2, Brighton 2. Look, Evan Ferguson, he's looking fantastic at the minute. That's his 3rd goal in his 5th Premier League appearance with Brighton. Seagulls, they stay in the top 6. And of course, my fantasy player of the week, Kaoru Mitoma, scored a wonder goal.
Yeah,
So
well, tell me this, Richie. How many points did he get you
Yeah.
this week?
Come on, tell us.
well, he wasn't in my team. Like I said, I'm there not to help. I'm not here to help.
Don't
myself.
backtrack now, lad, don't backtrack now.
No. I'm not here to help myself. I'm here to help the viewership at home. And I got a couple of lovely messages this week from people who said that's 4 from 5. I'm banging it at the minute. But yes, everybody was in agreement with me. Trent Alexander-Arnold is the shittest right back in the league, and it's not even up for debate.
Look at the French centre backs are shaking in the boots for these Euro qualifiers. Come on, Evan Ferguson in form. I actually think it's not a great point for Brighton. The way the game went, get goals great, but Leicester's poor at the minute.
Yeah.
I think it's a game Brighton should have won. It's more a valuable point for Leicester than it is for Brighton because it stopped a bit of a slide for Leicester. Look, I think Leicester's still in a bit of trouble here. I don't think Rodgers is getting the best of the players at the minute. I know that is my personal vendetta against Brendan Rodgers. Even if he goes on with the next 10 games, I'm still going to have a personal vendetta against Brendan Rodgers. But look, it's a point for Brighton at the end of the day. Keeps them in the top 6. It's a late goal that Brighton probably deserved it. They were the better team.
Yeah.
Evan Ferguson is looking really, really good for Brighton at the minute. He's looking like a fantastic find. And Matoma is playing brilliantly. Like, they're not going to miss Trossard at all the way Matoma's playing.
Yeah.
So things are still looking pretty rosy for Brighton to finish in that top 6. And I do think they will finish the top 6, because I do think they're just better than the teams chasing them. I think they're better than Liverpool and Chelsea at the minute.
Yeah. Connor, moving it on then. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. I have to say that was probably one of the most exciting games of football I've seen this year. It was really, really good. It was kind of like a top of the table championship clash though, the way the two teams approached the game.
Quality maybe wasn't as good.
Not as good.
It was more.
But the game
end
was
to end.
Yeah.
A lot of shots.
So there was 36 shots in the entire game. Sam Surridge obviously comes on for Forest against his former club.
Of course he scores, and we slag him as well. We're
Exactly.
like, oh, it's not good enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course,
Look, it's written in the stars. Comes on against his former club, gets the
goal.
equaliser. What'd you make of the game then?
Well, I've seen the highlights of the game, and it was exciting, like compared to like Chelsea,
Liverpool,
which was
yeah.
dreadful. But end to end, 20 shots for Forest.
Yeah.
Like that's the most this season by them anyway. And then 16, as you said, for Bournemouth. I thought Forest got a few goals disallowed. Forest are playing good football now. It's
they
weird
are.
because they were creating nothing, and then suddenly they get a few players back. Gibbs White again, and Johnson set up the goal.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, I seen their manager was like, yeah, we'll play a bit better, which they did. Their first point since November 12th, on their first goal since November 12th. Like that's crazy. Obviously, they did go a bit more attacking. The guy, was it Anthony, scored?
Jaden Anthony, yeah.
It was a good goal, good finish. But
Good player.
Bournemouth kind of needed to win that. Like they did need to win that because at home to Forest are playing well, but that needed to be a win. They're 1-0 up. I just don't like. I put Forest down a few weeks ago. I was like, they're gone, but they're probably going to stay up. But I think Bournemouth now are in serious trouble. They can't score goals. You know, they need to win that game. So I think, although Bournemouth did play better, 16 shots, they're still in big trouble.
Exactly. Well, look, it's all well and good, having your 16 shots against Forest.
Yeah.
You're not going to have 16 shots against, even mid-table Premier League
Yeah,
opposition. So I think the fact that they only scored 1 goal from 16 shots, and look, you could say the same thing about Forest, the fact they only scored 1 goal from 20 shots, it's maybe not the best sign for both sides. But look, it was a very entertaining game of football, and that's about as much as you want to say about it then. Also, within the Premier League this weekend, we had Brentford. Who did Brentford play this week? Leeds. That was 0-0. 0-0. Yeah, look, not the most exciting of games, obviously, but good point for both sides then, lads. What do you think? Or is this a game where Brentford will probably feel like they've dropped points?
I feel Brentford will feel like they dropped points. Brentford looked the better team in the game. They're a lot more creative than Leeds. Leeds didn't create many chances. It was a game of few chances in general. I think Koch played well for Leeds at the back.
Yes.
He blocked. It was one time he blocked a shot, then blocked the rebounder straight again. And then there's one time Rico Henry got a bit of space in the box and he went to cut it back to Tony, and Koch did really well just to get a toe on it to get away from Tony. Other than that, the game wasn't a lot of chances. Brentford probably were the better team, but look, it's a point Leeds needed, so it helped steady Leeds a wee bit, so they'll be happy enough with a point against the high-flying Brentford at the minute. Other than that, it just wasn't the best game in the world.
The goal expectancy was 0.5 to 0.3. So just a horrible game of football.
Yeah,
Brentford didn't have a shot on target.
Definitely not.
They did create a wee bit. Leeds are like a totally different side now under Marsh. They're more defensive. Leeds have only won 2 of their last 16. They probably needed to win a game like this at home. Brentford are unbeaten in 8. Brentford are just keeping up their good run of form. Even if they don't play as well as they probably should, they're still getting points now, which shows they're a top side and have a top manager. But Leeds are in trouble as well. They can't score goals. They are better defensively this year, but under Marsh, but they need to start scoring. Bamford maybe back could be a big help if he can stay fit.
Yeah. Newcastle then, another draw for them. I don't really know what to say about Newcastle here because they have been so excellent this season, but I feel like they're dropping more points now than these are games they should be winning. Now look, a nice stat about Newcastle, and I'm sure Newcastle fans would absolutely applaud this stat. They have more clean sheets now than goals conceded in the Premier League. That's massive, and that's congratulations to Newcastle and congratulations to Eddie Howe. He's done a fantastic job at bringing that defence together. But I do feel like these last couple of results for Newcastle, they have dropped 4 points rather than pick up a maximum of 6. I think Almiron's maybe started to slow down a wee bit. The their midfield's not getting as dominant as they have been in recent weeks, especially when they're in possession. Joe Linton has looked a wee bit, he's still not clinical in front of goal, which is the one thing that'll always get said about him. He's such a hard worker, he does the dog work, but he's just not clinical in front of goal. Lads, look, what's your take on Newcastle then? Just dropping points rather than picking points up?
I don't know, like if you had asked any Newcastle fan before the start of the season if you wanted to be third in the table, they'd bite your hand off. Like, and I think, is it something like they haven't conceded a goal since the 12th of October or something?
Yeah, 6 clean sheets in a row.
It's ridiculous. Look, they're not losing.
No, but
they're picking up points. Yes, the Newcastle we've come accustomed to this season should probably be getting 3 points against Crystal Palace. Same way United should have got 3 points against Crystal Palace during the week. But Palace just done the dog work again and grinded out the result. But yeah, Newcastle, look, I still think they're playing good football. The only thing that kind of baffled me a bit when I seen the Newcastle line-up yesterday. Now, I only seen the highlights. I didn't watch the full game, but I only seen the highlights. I didn't understand why they started Callum Wilson when they had Alexander Isak on the bench, and he scored last week.
Again, I think with Isak, he's just not 100% fit yet. I think they're just taking their time and trying to bleed him back into the side rather than chuck him straight back in and then maybe he gets another big injury. So I think it's just like a bleeding in process at the minute. And I would probably actually still say Wilson is probably their first choice striker, to be honest.
He's just not scoring at the minute.
Yeah.
But then he's only back from injury
too.
So probably.
Like I would say an Eddie Howe's mind, because he knows Callum Wilson so well and he obviously had him at Bournemouth, I would still say Wilson is probably his first choice. But again, they just don't want to risk another massive injury to their £70 million star.
But I wouldn't say I wouldn't say necessarily that it's 4 points dropped. Look, they're still picking up points, and as I said at the start there, Newcastle would bite your hand off for 2 points in them games in any of the last few years. They would have bit your hand off for 2 points in them as well. But look, they're not losing, and they're not conceding. So
they're not, but they're also not scoring. They've only scored once in their last 4 games.
Yeah.
That's the concerning thing for Newcastle. The great thing is they're not conceding, and that's probably the hardest thing to do in football is not concede.
Yeah.
But they're not scoring either, which is a bit concerning. Look, at their next game is West Ham at home. You'd think they probably should win that game.
Yeah.
And that might get them back on track a wee bit. But they do need. I would like to see them scoring a couple of goals because the last games 0-0 last week, 1-0 against Fulham win, 0-0 against Arsenal, 0-0 against Leeds.
Yeah.
So I would
but
like.
You said they hadn't scored in 4 games.
They scored once in 4 games.
Yeah.
Did I say? Oh, sorry, I meant to say when he scored.
No,
once.
he did.
No,
he said they scored
Right,
once in
first
4
time.
games.
Yes, Owen got it right for once.
Fuck off! You'll never let me live that down as well.
There's one.
The thing about it as well, like as you were saying, the only thing that would worry me is like they might rue not getting these results because like if the team hits form like a Tottenham or something, and the pressure starts getting on.
Yeah.
But it is the goals. They just need to start scoring goals. They've only scored one. I think it was like the 90th minute. So yeah, they're keeping clean sheets, but they need to score goals.
All right then, lads. That's it for the coverage of that. Moving on to our picks of the week then. Connor, coming to you first. Who's the player of the week this week?
See, the obvious pick would be Haaland because he scored a hat-trick, but I'm going to give it to Nketiah because I thought he was superb. 2 goals, big game. I thought Saka as well was unbelievable, but I'm going to give it to Nketiah because he stepped up in Jesus' absence, and yeah, he's really hitting form now. He's 18 goals in like his last 25 games for Arsenal, which isn't bad.
No.
Saying a lot of those maybe off the bench. So he was unbelievable, and he was the match winner. And as we were saying about Haaland, maybe his 2 goals weren't that impressive, like, but it was his movement and just being in the right spot, the right time. And I thought Arsenal maybe were missing that with Jesus because he's more of a ball to feet kind of player, hold up player. But yeah, Arsenal, it could have been Saka, it could have been Haaland, but I'm going to give it to Nketiah.
Nketiah, yeah. Well, look, I would agree with you. I think, this has been a good few weeks for Nketiah, actually. It's not just as if he's had one good game. This is an accumulation of a few good weeks for Nketiah. And look, I play striker too, and you need to be, the one thing you need to be in the right position. You need to be hungry to score goals, and the kid looks hungry to score goals.
And he's been clinical as well.
He has, his goals mightn't be absolute worldies, but he's doing what strikers are meant to do. He's scoring inside the box. He's a poacher, and I think he's definitely. It's a good thing Arsenal kept a hold of him because he's been more of an asset than a hindrance for them this season. So yeah, completely agree with you. I think Nketiah was absolutely fantastic this week. Owen, cream of the cream. boob of the week. Who's the biggest boob in the Premier League this week?
I'm tempted to give it both to Liverpool and Chelsea just for the tripe that should surface up on Saturday morning. But I'm going to go Jose Sa for just the brain fart and thinking Riyad Mahrez was wearing a Wolves jersey for some reason for Haaland's hat-trick. So Jose Sa, congratulations, you are the cream of the cream, boob of the week, which means you're going to have a worldly game next week.
Next week, yeah.
Get him into your fantasy teams.
100%. 100%. Yeah, on to my fantasy pick of the week then. I'm 4 from 5. I want to go 5 from 6 here. So, who to go? Who do United have next week?
Palace and Leeds. Double game week.
Palace and Leeds.
Yeah. Both at home.
Both at home. Both at home. Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Yeah, since Ronaldo's left, he's been more influential. Yeah.
Gonna go Bruno. Get Bruno into your teams. I mightn't have Bruno in my team, but you should definitely have Bruno in your teams. Yeah, I think I'll go Bruno. He's been on a really good run of form recently. Looks like United's most creative outlet. And yeah, just like you were saying there, Connor.
Yesterday.
Yeah, and from Ronaldo's left, he does look like the shackles have come off him again, and he's that player from a few years ago. Before obviously having the pressure of Ronaldo in. But look, I'm gonna go Bruno. I think United in for a big week this week. Need to get back to winning ways. So Bruno Fernandes is going to be the man to kick them on and get them to do that. For a double game week, yeah, why not? Why not? I'm going to captain Rashford, to be honest. Because I don't even think I'll have enough to get Bruno into my team with transfers or whatever. So, no, definitely I would go Bruno. And if you have any United player, I would captain them, especially for a double game week. Obviously, it's quite obvious. So, yeah, Bruno Fernandes, my fantasy pick of the week. Oren, your opinion of the week then?
Okay, so this was news that only broke this morning, and it was David Ornstein that reported it, and it's that Harry Kane is looking increasingly likely to sign in a new contract at Tottenham Hotspur. And my opinion of the week is that Harry Kane is showing a lack of ambition in terms of trophies by signing that new deal.
I need to be careful with what
No,
I
you
say.
don't.
No, I totally
You're an
agree.
unbiased party. You don't need to be careful. Say what you feel.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Totally agreed.
Yeah, look, I mean, Spurs a couple of years ago, if this contract extension had been, say, after they'd have been in the Champions League final, you could have went, okay, yeah, fair enough, because Spurs do look like they're on the up and up, but Spurs are just in limbo at the minute, really. You don't know whether they're going to keep with their manager, whether the manager's going to go. You don't know even whether the manager wants to be there. It's hard to know what their transfer policy is at the minute because they're active in the market, but they're not really active in the market. They seem to be putting the feelers out for players, but then very quickly rein it back in. I think, obviously, as a Man United fan, I would love Kane at Man United, and I think Kane would be the perfect go-to man next year to bring in and compete with Haaland on that goal-scoring front. So I'd love to see Kane at United. Always would love to see him, but Kane's a world-class player. He should have the ambitions of going and winning Premier Leagues and winning Champions Leagues, and so far in his career he just hasn't done that. And to be honest, in my opinion, Kane's the best striker to have ever played in the Premier League. But he's never going to get that credit because the one thing people are always going to say is, yeah, well,
Where's his medal?
he never won a trophy.
So even Shearer got a Premier League.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if he breaks Shearer's record, if you're the top goal scorer in the Premier League, you're the best. You are the best striker in the Premier League. There's no doubt about it. At the minute, it's Shearer. But when Kane inevitably breaks that record, Kane will be the best forward in the Premier League. But you can bet your ass there'll be a debate because people will say, well,
It's the same with Steven Gerrard.
yeah. Well, never won a trophy.
I don't understand why he would sign a contract, to be honest, because even the situation at the minute, they're 6th in the league, they're not going well. The manager's not really helping him either. The way they're playing, will he even be there after this year? Unless he's got assurances they're going to spend money and Conte is going to sign a new deal. I just don't understand it. Why wouldn't he go to, if he wants to do the Premier League thing, why doesn't he go to a United where he's going to probably score more goals, play under a good manager?
Has more, in my opinion, more of a chance to win trophies
Yeah,
at United.
trophies will be there as well. Tottenham are just, I don't see where Tottenham are going. I think they're just going down, to be honest. I just don't see what's positive about Tottenham at the minute, as you were saying.
Well, Tottenham don't even have assurances that they're going to be in the Champions League next season either,
Yeah, they're
from
going
his
in,
personal perspective, it probably makes sense in terms of breaking Shearer's record. But from an ambitious and honorary sense. It makes no sense in my opinion.
to be honest.
You can't have a career of Harry Kane and not win a trophy, which he hasn't done. He's won no trophies in his career, not even a League Cup or a Community Shield or
The
something.
Asia Cup, he's won it.
But that's the thing. Like, he's undoubted. Like, well, I don't know if it's undoubted, but like, a lot of people view him as Tottenham's greatest player ever.
Yeah.
Well,
He'd be up there,
he's
like,
broke
yeah.
Jimmy Greaves' record.
You know what I mean?
He's
Exactly.
arguably
Like,
the best player to ever play for Tottenham.
for Tottenham, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
he's 15 goals this season.
yeah.
In that team. That's
Like,
crazy how good he is. Like,
this period of having Harry Kane and having Son Heung-min and having the players that they've had, Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen, and to not win a trophy, it's criminal
Yeah,
almost.
it's robbery.
they only made one final as well. I think the Champions League
The
was the only final.
Champions League
They weren't
final's the
even
only
close
final
in
that-
any
yeah.
other ones. They kept losing semi-finals to like Chelsea.
Well,
and
they were in
things like
the League Cup
League Cup
final
final.
a couple of years
that.
ago.
They're still there.
That's right.
Lost to City.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Didn't,
Oh, yeah.
like, sure, the sacked Mourinho, like,
That's
a
right.
Oh,
week,
yeah.
a week before the final.
That's
So
right.
they give him like no chance.
No.
Zach Mourinho.
And Mourinho would have won that final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
If
tight
there's
game,
one
actually. I
thing-
remember 1-0 or
Yeah, if
something.
there's one thing Jose Mourinho can do,
Just one final.
he can win finals.
Yeah.
Who did they have? Ryan Mason at the helm
Ryan
for,
Mason.
for the
Yeah.
final?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Madness.
that's crazy.
Madness.
You know
Sacking probably one of the most successful managers ever a week before a final.
know.
Sack him after the final.
Yeah.
Who cares if you sack him after the final?
Even if
he's
you win,
won a
just sack
trophy.
him.
Yeah, even if you win, like we done with Van Hal, just sack him. But that,
No
hey,
ball.
what the hell was that decision about? Hey,
You're already admitting defeat there before you've even kicked the ball,
Yeah.
like, know, so.
crazy.
But what has changed as well? Because he was looking out, he's looking to go to City. So what has changed now that makes him think, oh,
Well, I seen a lot of things on Twitter this morning when it was brought out.
Touch.
And well, I've seen about Poch coming back, and obviously there's going to be that connection. Obviously,
He's
he
currently
probably
trending.
played his best football under Pochettino.
He's currently trending on Twitter, Pochettino,
Pochettino
so
is.
there must be something happening here.
But I also seen Harry Kane's agent is his brother, and Harry Kane is the only football representative that his brother has. And I've seen a lot of things saying, look, obviously I don't know what his brother does, I don't know the job of an agent or whatever, but I've just seen a lot of football fans speculating that is his brother taking the easy way out by getting a new contract rather than having to deal with another club and, I don't know, do his job. Who knows?
yeah.
But it does, to me, and I would say to the general football fans, show a lack of ambition from Harry Kane's perspective. Like, as Richie said, like, Harry Kane is one of the best strikers world football has ever seen. Let alone the Premier League, he's one of the best strikers world football has ever seen.
No, completely.
He's been world class for the last 5 years.
Exactly.
Oh, longer.
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 The ones have been 2015, so 6,
Hey,
7.
look, he broke onto the scene in the 13-14
Yeah,
season.
10
and-
years you're
and
talking
started scoring
consistently.
goals immediately.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they got to 10 years.
Yeah, got to 10 years consistently, he's been one of the best in the world. And he hasn't won anything. And this is the bottom line. He hasn't won anything.
No.
And he's deciding, no, I think I'm going to stay at Spurs. Don't get me wrong, it shows his loyalty for the club. The Spurs fans will be buzzing with that because it is a massive coup to keep him at your club.
Yeah.
But they need to be realistic too. Do they think they're hindering Kane's chances of winning a trophy? I would say they are. I would say Tottenham hinders Kane's chance as much as... Because Kane does his job. As you said, Dorman, Kane's got 15 goals this season
Yeah.
in a shite Spurs team. So he's doing his job.
Yeah.
It's the players around him and the coaches and stuff around him that clearly aren't doing enough for Harry Kane. So for me,
Yeah.
if he wants to win trophies, he needs to leave Spurs.
yeah,
So my opinion of the week is Harry Kane's showing a lack of ambition by signing a new contract with
yeah,
Tottenham Hotspur.
I'd agree. Agreed. Gonna have a new section then this week, folks. And we will also, you will see this section on Instagram and TikTok as well. We'll be doing plenty of these over the next few weeks. This is Guess the Player by Their Career Path. We've seen this on TikTok and Instagram, and we thought, here, why don't we give it a go?
Okay, so for the folks at home, this is how we're going to do it. I've got 5 clues about a player in world football. Not necessarily playing currently, but you'll understand as it goes on. I'm giving you all one guess, okay? You can buzz in at any time in these 5 clues, but I'm only giving you one guess. If you get it wrong, you're out, and whoever's left will stay in. Fans at home, you can play along too. Let us know if you get it. Let us know on your Instagrams and on Twitter and stuff. I think we should crack on, okay? So the first clue. This is probably the easiest. We've got 3 of these. The first clue. I began my career playing in the 4th division of Spanish football before playing in La Liga a year later. Anybody want to jump in?
No.
No.
Okay. Number 2. I have played in the top division in Spain, Italy, and England. Number 3. My most successful trophy-laden spell was at Juventus, where I won 3 Serie A titles, 2 Supercoppa Italias, and the Coppa Italia.
This is a hard start.
My mom said this was the easiest
No,
one.
I should be getting it here now. Number 4. I am a World Cup and Euros winner.
Be Ben, I'll be Ben.
Go on, Dorman.
Trezeguet.
Oh, Dorman's out. Are you sure you want to come in?
No.
What do you think? It's the same now.
The last clue.
So hard.
Should be getting this. Should be getting this. You should be getting this.
Wait, Juventus?
Juventus, yeah.
And he's played in
He's played in Spain, Italy, and England.
Spain,
Oh, he has to be
Italy,
supposed
and
to.
England.
In the top
Is it Alvaro
divisions.
Morata?
No, you're out, lad.
Oh,
Why did you say that? Listen to the 5th clue. Owen. I became a cult hero at Tottenham Hotspur, playing a vital role in their Champions League final route.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I know it now. Oh, for God's
You
sake.
have to
For
know
God's
it.
sake.
You know it. You know it.
Don't tell him. Because he
You'd have
doesn't
got
know it.
too,
Look at his
yeah, you'd
face.
got it too.
So read the final clue
Okay,
again for me.
so I'm going to read all 5 out.
Right.
I began my career playing in the 4th division of Spanish football before playing in La Liga a year later.
Yeah.
I played in the top division of Spain, Italy, and England. My most successful trophy-laden spell was at Juventus, where I won 3 Serie A titles, 2 Supercoppa Italias, and the Coppa Italia. I am a World Cup and Euros winner. I became a cult hero at Tottenham Hotspur, playing a vital role in their Champions League final route.
It has to be Spanish.
When you hear the name, you'll be like,
You'll know
How'd you
straight
get
away.
that?
Who the hell was Spanish playing for Tottenham?
I'm going to give you 10 seconds.
Yeah,
though.
timer. We both
5, 4, 3, 2,
Roberto Soldado. I don't want to stop when he played for Tottenham.
boys.
Fernando
Llorente.
Llorente.
Fernando Llorente. So let me know at home if you got that right as well. Okay, on to the second one. Bit more difficult.
Well,
Okay.
fuck, that first one was difficult.
Oh, it was tough.
I didn't think it was, but I suppose I'm the one who made these. Like, so I knew it
You were
was.
reading his name the entire time.
Number 1. I have accumulated over 100 million euros worth of transfer fees in my career.
Alvaro Morata.
Out.
Nah.
Number 2.
Go big or go home.
I began my career at Braga in Portugal before moving to Spain for the next 7 years, excluding loans, and I am currently in the Premier League. No guesses?
No.
It's better keeping it safe.
Number 3. I am a 2-time Premier League winner, 2-time La Liga winner, and a 3-time UEFA Super Cup winner, among others, despite only ever winning one European competition, which was the Europa League. So he's won the Super Cup 3 times, even though he's only won one Europa League. No guesses?
God.
No.
Number 4. I have represented both Spain and Brazil at international level. Dorman.
Ah, shit. Would you say Brazil and Spain?
Yeah.
Diego Costa.
That's what
Diego
I was
Costa.
just about to say. I was about to say Diego Costa. I was
about half an hour there.
He got like 30 seconds of it.
Yeah, that's because you were both
I was
out.
just about to get it. I honestly was about to say Diego Costa. That's crazy, lads.
I give you both a point. I give you both a point.
I'm not taking any chances here. If I know what I'm saying.
The last clue would have been I've been employed by Atletico Madrid on 3 separate occasions.
I'm still convinced it's Alvaro Morata. No harm to that.
Okay, the final one. Now listen carefully, right? So it's 1-1-0. Okay, we'll do a tally of these until the end. Dorman, stop shaking your head, would you?
But you wouldn't see in a quiz show somebody.
Up you big baby, would you stop? You took about half an hour to answer.
10 seconds.
Fuck
hold it
off,
30.
Dorman, would you? Dorman, you're right, lad.
That's fair, mate.
Okay. Number 1. I have played alongside Jeremy Menez, Rivaldo, Mario Balotelli, Thierry Henry, and Kostas Tsimikas. Number 2. I am a Champions League winner. Number 3. I began my professional career in the Belgian Premier League. Anybody?
No.
No.
This is probably the hardest. Number 4. I am a 3-time Premier League winner, and I partnered Patrick Vieira in midfield in my first season at my Premier League club. No guesses.
I'm trying
I'm
to.
taking a blank.
Vieira played for more than just Arsenal, didn't he?
City as well.
City, yeah.
Number 5. I captained my national team to victory in the African Cup of Nations in 2015.
Buzz and
Dorman.
Yaya Toure.
Yeah, Toure. Well in, Dorman. Well in.
When did Yaya Toure play with Patrick Vieira?
City?
That's
City
City.
must have been there.
2010, 2011.
Was Patrick Vieira still playing football at that
Yeah,
stage?
2010, 2011. He played with Patrick Vieira.
Henry.
Played with Henry at Barcelona.
Yeah.
He also played with Ronaldinho. He played with Rivaldo at his first spell at Olympiacos. And he played with Jeremy Menez at Monaco.
I was going to go.
That was a good one.
I was going to go Colo there. Just he said Ivory Coast.
And he played with Kostas Tsimikas when he last played for Olympiacos before he moved to China.
Right, okay.
That's
And then obviously Balotelli at Manchester City.
Right.
So we have Dorman on 2 points. Richie on 1 point, controversially, but still on 1
We'll
point.
give it to him.
You were good. I got it right.
When somebody buzzes in, the question, you'll see somebody come in.
I know. Don't,
All right, Dorman, don't cry, lad.
don't make,
I might have a good 10-minute cry after this, lads.
don't mind me. I'm just looking for the buzzer on this table.
And you got 0. So we're on 2-1-0 going into next week. Okay, folks at home, let us know if you enjoyed that section. We're going to do some more on TikTok and on Instagram and Twitter, whatever, as Connor said. But yeah, keep your own tally and let us know how you get on too.
Do our predictions then, lads?
Let's
Yeah.
do the predictions.
Yeah. Dokily. So we've already done our prediction for Fulham and Spurs tonight. All right, then. So the game week starts on Friday, the 3rd of February. That's Chelsea at home to Fulham. Owen.
Chelsea.
Owen.
Draw.
Draw.
I'm gonna go Fulham. Saturday, the 4th of February. Then we have Everton at home to Arsenal.
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 Yeah, Arsenal.
Yeah. Villa at home to Leicester.
Villa.
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 I'll go Villa too. Brentford at home to Southampton.
Draw.
Brentford.
Brentford.
I'm gonna go Southampton. Brighton at home to Bournemouth.
Brighton.
Draw.
Brighton.
I'm gonna go Brighton. United at home to Crystal Palace.
United.
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 Yeah, I'll go United. Wolves at home to Liverpool.
Wolves.
Draw.
Draw.
Wolves. Newcastle at home to West Ham.
Newcastle.
Draw.
Newcastle.
Go Newcastle as well. Forest at home to Leeds.
Leeds.
Forced.
Forest.
I'm gonna go draw. Spurs at home to City.
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 Yeah, City.
Draw.
I was contemplating a draw.
Yeah.
I don't think Spurs will win.
No, I
No,
don't
But
think
I was
they will either.
contemplating a draw just after the last result.
Yeah. And then the final game of that game week, Man United at home to Leeds.
United will thrash them. Like 7-0.
United, yeah.
Yeah, Man U, yeah.
Yeah, United.
Man U.
They're both United's, boys.
Blast from the past.
Yes, so that's going to do it for this week, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Again, really appreciate all the support that we're getting. It was nice to get a few messages this week from a few people telling us how much they've been enjoying the podcast. So thank you so much for that there. We really, really appreciate it. We've got a couple of new shows that we're toying around with. We've got a couple of interviews and stuff that we want to try and get set up over the next couple of weeks. Please check us out again on the Powerless Sports app. We have a lot of good content up there with a lot in content creators.
In the past week as well.
In the
We
past
put up
week, yeah.
loads.
Going to be working with a lot more big content creators now for you as well, so tune in for some of them too. And again, it is just a massive thank you. We really do appreciate all the support and all the listeners that we keep getting. It makes us feel like we're doing our job right, and that it's giving you good content to listen to. So thank you very much, and once again, keep it bottom bins.
Keep it bottom
Keep it
bins.
bottom bins.